What's up, y'all? My name is Fire Knight, and welcome to the Signal Fire. So with the new year comes change, and this is a decision I've been mulling over for a few months, probably since October or November. For those of y'all that follow me on Twitter and or Discord, y'all have been seeing allusions about this possibly happening. But for those that don't follow me on Twitter or Discord, let me give you the Cliff Notes version. As you can see, this YouTube channel is no longer going to be called the Boogie Night Project, but rather the Signal Fire Project. Now, for those of y'all that are only interested about why I've changed the name from Boogie Night to Signal Fire, I will put a timestamp in the description below to give you guys directly to that point in time. For those that want to know overall the changes I'm going to be doing to the channel, stick around. I'll keep this brief and to the point. And by brief and to the point, I mean probably about 10 to 15 minutes, as my monologues tend to do. Anywho, so once again, this is something that I've been banding around inside my head for a while. There's not going to be a lot of drastic changes to the project. A lot of the stuff I've already been doing. It's just I'm kind of solidifying said package deal, as it were. So for starters, the first thing I'm going to be doing change-wise is, with the exception of maybe one or two or maybe three titles, I'm going to be focusing exclusively on indie games for my YouTube channel. I know a lot of y'all are thinking, okay, well, you know, Knight has been doing indie games for a very long time, and that's true. For those of y'all that follow the project for an extended period of time, probably since, I'd say 2019, 2020, I have been doing 90% indie games. The reason I'm saying 90 to maybe 95% indie games that'll be continuous because there are a few major league games that I do want to play. I mean, I guess you could say Little Nightmares and Little Nightmares 2 would be considered a major label just because of the following. I still consider it indie, but 6 of one, half a dozen of another. And of course, there's other titles such as the rest of the Amnesia saga that I do want to play once I get a new computer. Sorry, I'm a little salty about that. I was playing No Man's Sky with Gray earlier, and my computer decided to have a conniption and restart. Anyway, so why am I going to be focusing exclusively, well, almost exclusively, on indie games? Quite simply put, how do I phrase this in a vanilla-like fashion? It's mainly just because there are so many wonderful indie titles out there that nobody has heard of. From from series-centric games such as Survive the Blackout, such as Akamanto, that I'm going to get back into, as well as Hanako, such as the myriad of other games that I played for the project, Absolve End of Gods, Unforgiving a Northern Hymn, Through the Woods. I mean, there's so many different indie titles out there that nobody has heard of, and it's really an honor for me to have the opportunity to play these games. And I've developed a very good rapport with a lot of indie developers, from Christoph, notwithstanding my sponsor, of course, we'll get into that, to Isla Oliva, to JJ Barcello, to Public Combo, Scythe Dev, all these other indie developers that are working so hard to release quality product, and I feel like I really want to focus more on them. And also, that gives y'all an opportunity to see some of these under-the-radar games and maybe encourage y'all to go check out other sites such as Itch.io, GameJolt, IndieDB, as well as indie games that are on Steam or whatever other download cloud you are part of. It also just opens up a lot of doors for me because I feel like if I get really uncreative and I really don't feel like focusing on a series, I can do some indie one-offs here and there to kind of rekindle the flames, no pun intended. And here's the other reason too. I feel like the platform that is YouTube, as well as other platforms, Twitch, Facebook gaming, that kind of thing, are just oversaturated with the same titles over and over again. And it's a little frustrating just because I feel like, while some people definitely take a joy in some of these games, I feel like others are doing it just for recognition. And these are the same people that would probably not even look at an indie game because it's not going to get enough views. And this is something that's been kind of frustrating me towards the end of 2020 is just this personal revelation that, not to discount or discredit my fellow content creators, I just feel a little bit dirty, at be like, oh, well, I'm playing this game for my channel, even though I don't like it because it's going to get me more recognition. Or, hey, I need 5 more subs to hit this kind of thing. And I'm not discounting people that are trying to grow their channel. But the way I see it is, if people like your content, they're going to follow. They're going to subscribe. They're going to like. They're going to leave comments. You don't need people to be like, oh, well, look at this major label game that I probably am just going to go, oh my God, that kind of thing. When I take more of a joy of indie games, there's so much from the low-res, low-poly, such as Chill's Art, Christoph, Dan Sanderson, Scythe Dev, Puppet Combo, to some of the more beautifully designed ones, such as Survive the Blackout, or, what is it called? Lapso, or Horror Globes. It's just, I love that idea because I feel like it's more of a blank slate that I can really go in and sink my teeth into and feel more emotionally invested rather than just play a game strictly because it's major label. And also because, well, the computer sucks. So, once again, there's a few other major label games that I do want to play. But for the most part, it's going to be exclusively indie. Now, that's not going to be discounting the games that I play for my patron cabal, because those are patron-based. I give them some genres, they make some recommendations, and I go for it. So that's kind of the exception to the rule, but once again, unless you're part of my patron cabal, you're not going to notice. The second change that I'm going to be doing for the project is kind of a two-pronger. I love doing interludes, and I love doing Through the Pages. And I feel like there's a noticeable departure on Through the Pages. Because once again, like indie games, I'm doing the Through the Pages podcast because it's giving recognition to colleagues and people I've interacted with and people I've worked with and collaborated with in order to give them more recognition for their platform so maybe they can get more people to check them out as well. And I've gotten some suggestions on other people that I should be talking to, and I'm going to be reaching out to them in the near future and kind of get that situated, as well as interludes. And this kind of ties into the Signal Fire moniker that I want to dive into. 1 second. My throat's killing me. Look, I'm running on no sleep for 60 hours now, and I've been talking all day, so my throat's a little dry. It is what it is. Anyway, interludes. I absolutely love doing them because I feel like they establish a conversation with yourself or other people around you that maybe you haven't had the thought to do so. Because I also feel like it's a chance for y'all to get to know me as a person, as instead of just this guy with a trilby, which I'm not wearing now, but whatever, cosmetic. Certain subjects, I mean, like mental and emotional health, spirituality, sexuality, philosophy, other kind of social subjects that you feel need to be addressed. So with that being said, with Through the Pages and interludes, I'm going to be doing at least 1 to 2 interludes per month, as well as at least 1 Through the Pages. I know that's going to be a little more work for me. I'm going to get into the scheduling in 1 second, but that's kind of the overall process that I want the project to take shape. So scheduling-wise, here's the skinny. Hours are still going to be a little hectic for me, so I'm going to keep the gaming portion still Tuesdays and Thursdays, 11 a.m. East Coast time, starting next week. That is, look at my calendar here. Hang on. Sunday the 17th. So, yeah, so starting that Sunday, Tuesdays and Thursdays, I will be uploading games at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is 9 a.m. Mountain Time, 8 a.m. Pacific Time, and then in the UK, it's going to be 4 p.m. Germany, 5 p.m. those times. And then Through the Pages and or interludes will be on those Wednesdays. Once again, that's going to be a little more up in the air. It depends on when I can pin down a creator for an interview or a chance to sit down and come up with a subject for interludes. Because interludes now are also going to be a little bit more research based. So if I'm doing something talking like, for example, mental and emotional well-being, I'm going to have sources as well that I want to cite to just kind of give it's not just extrapolation or exposition dumps and that kind of thing. That's going to be a little more in-depth and a little more thought out, as well as notes and talking points. So those will go up on Wednesdays. Patreon uploads will still be going up on Saturdays. I know I've got to start my next one probably tomorrow. I was going to originally record this tomorrow just because I'm exhausted and I'm just a little brain fogged at the moment. But I did want to get this up so I could do my Patreon stuff on Saturdays. That will continue as always, and we'll get to Patreon in a moment. So with that being said, Patreon. Big thank you to my incredibly sexy patrons. You'll see their names fly by. The grind is going to be a little bit more slow just because, once again, my Patreon is what's really going to be paying for my computer. I'm about a third of the way there, give or take, as well as the money I've been saving and setting aside, even though finances right now are a little bit up in the air. I need to rebudget. I need to do a few things. I'm hoping by June-ish maybe, I'll have enough assets set aside between work and my moonlighting projects, not even go into that, and my Patreon to get a new computer, because I need to get a new one that can give you guys better content, and everything else will fall into place. But that's just me. Which brings me to my next point, because some people have been asking, Knight, when are you going to be returning to streaming? Honestly, I don't know. Do I want to? Yes. But there's two things that are preventing me from actually going back into streaming. One, obviously, my computer. And two, if I choose to stream, I want to have a set schedule for it. And working retail, you don't really have a chance to develop a schedule when it comes to streaming. I mean, this is strictly for consistency. I mean, a lot of people are just shooting from the hip. I want to have, once again, consistency is key for me. Sinvicta has talked about it. Dave from Boynaban has talked about it. And I just want, once again, I want my project to be more professional as YouTube can be. So, I don't know. I'm hoping once I get a computer and the work situation kind of calms down, I'll have more of an opportunity to do so. So, with that being said, now that it's 12 minutes and 30 seconds into this video, well, as I'm recording this, give or take, why am I changing the name? Why am I rebranding the project after putting 3 to 4 years of work and effort into first Sonic Boogie, then Boogie Night? Why Signal Fire? Well, here's the thing, is I have been enlightened, for lack of a better description, with the concept of fire. That's not saying I'm a pyro, but for decades, for a man that's 37 years old, I love fire. I love the color, I love the way it dances, I love the warmth, I love the heat, and I love the spiritual, philosophical, and mental concept behind a fire. There's so many different things you could choose from to associate fire with. So what do I mean by signal fire? Well, here's the thing. What exactly is a signal fire? It's pretty self-explanatory, really. It's a fire that sends off a signal that you are somewhere or you're reaching out to somebody. And I feel like 2019 and 2020 have been very difficult years for all of us, not just for myself. And for a while, I really felt like I was running on empty. Like I alluded to this numerous times on Twitter and Discord that I was burnt out. I wasn't even burnt out. I was ashen. And then upon reflection, it's not that I was ashen. It was just that my own inner signal fire had reduced to a glowing ember. And that's what I'm alluding to with this, is we all have a fire that's burning inside of us. It can be a tiny ember or it can be a massive blaze. And at some point, like a phoenix, it gets reborn from the ashes. So we still have that tiny glowing ember, that tiny coal at the bottom of the fire, and it's just waiting to catch again. So I feel like this year and towards the end of last year, there have been a lot of stark revelations for me, coming to grips with a lot of inner demons, with my anxiety, with my depression, and feeling more open to talking about these things, hence more interludes, as well as my desire to do more indie games. And going back to the Signal Fire concept, I also want to help some of these indie developers blaze, to grow and burn and expand and become what they want to do and what they need to do. So I feel like Boogie Night has kind of gone off, kind of just stepped away from the flames, and that's why Signal Fire is becoming the new thing. I know that sounds maudlin and cheesy and kind of stupid, but it's just my own mindset, is that we all have a fire in us. It's what pushes us. It's what motivates us. It's what drives us forward. Even in the darkest time, there's still that tiny glow that we can just see just far enough ahead of us. And that's the way it is. So with that being said, that's kind of why I'm changing the name. That's why I'm doing this rebranding process. Obviously, there's still going to be some remnants of Boogie Night Project on YouTube and Twitter until I have a chance to get around to that. And that kind of thing. So let me know your thoughts below. And also, of course, before I forget, a big thank you to Christoph Ray for being a sponsor of the Boogie Night Project. If you like low poly hard games with emphasis on character development, fear factor, ambience, plot development, storyline, check him out. Links in the description below as well. I guarantee you won't be let down. As well as to my dear, dear friends, Randy and Angelica Roswell of Brighter Than 1,000 Suns, for letting me use the intro to their song from Gravity as kind of the intro to this exposition dump, this monologue. Why not? Excellent friends of mine and excellent musicians. Once again, this song's called Gravity. It's recently been released. I will put links in the description below to their Spotify account as well as to their YouTube page. Please check them out. Very good friends of mine. Electronic rock, electronic hardcore, electronic metal. Guarantee you won't be let down. So otherwise, I hope y'all have a very, very fantastic night. And remember, keep your fires burning bright.